lot of that will come on the short attack line. Until that point, it's got to be all about playing off of that utility upon the swings. And so Cubert Academy, a lot of this early round is going to be about sniffing out the right target and prioritizing the lane that they occupy. Double swing from Okeanos and company, who has taken up that duelist mantle until Sato makes his way onto the team. And he's been a duelist for a good, decent chunk of time, so he'll do his job pretty dang well. Good for the 1-for-1 as Reduxx will fall. Cubert Academy make their way onto the site itself, where the deadlock utility does not, in fact, lie, especially thanks to that stealth drone that we did toss down. They'll find a kill along the way, too, but Caillou has been able to spread this thin and keep this down to a 1v1. Scuba v B-Dog, classic duel between these two. They faced off against each other so many times, but it's B-Dog who wins it out this time and gets the pistol round for M8.
As we do see Okeanos back with the Outlaw, and B-Dog just so aware, but can't quite find that kill.
Doesn't really need to do much work, though, now that Toxic Orb has reduced Cubert to a crisp. He's on the hunt for the remainder.
Oh, jeez. What a way to go as well.
Definitely a great start. That'll give M80 potentially a sixth life on the bonus round.
I want to see that talent thrive yet again.
Cubert is a jet-powered surgical needle, and Reduxx is the activator. He'll get on the truck and immediately get silenced by B-Dog, who is now only one orb away from that ultimate. Nismo attempting to duel him, but now he's got company upstairs, and so Cubert, they can only confidently take this front half of sight. And it seems like they're not holding on to too much confidence right now as M80 continue to field out that pressure. And Okeanos continues to repeat. That's another one down. Nismo finally available for the refrag, and he'll extend past the shower to find lead in 2. That's 2 down now for Cubert. Caillou will be able to silence that, but now comes that confidence on the short push itself, and a 2v3 against what M80 still has is a half-hearted buy. Not out of the cards just yet for this bonus to be retaken back. A lot of it rests on Knight's ability to frag outside of that util, and he's just having so much trouble finding those heads on the swing back. Really tough angles to manage by yourself, which is why you now have some help from beyond the smoke. No Scuba, just waiting for the peek instead, and that's gonna be enough! All 3 go to him, and the bonus will still go Cubert's way. Oh, wow. Huge pick off from Scuba on top of his wall. So,
importantly here, it doesn't actually draw the defense away from that B site. As a matter of fact, M80 want to pressure out on the other side of this wall just a little bit to get that information and have a better understanding as to what the play might be. We did up against the world until the reinforcements can come. Because Cubert, when they come knocking on your door, they're about to kick the door down.
All or nothing here on Reduxx's push, and off of one blast pack, he's able to discombobulate Weeded and get that frag pretty quickly after. Nice reaction time from what is still the star of Cubert Academy. Snakebite a little too late on top of the spike plant, so Cubert can still disperse onto site, and look how much space they have blossomed into with such minimal util available from M80 at this stage in the round. Okeanos going to be forced to just kind of walk onto site and find a shot wherever he can, but with this Outlaw, it's super tough to do that quickly. Reduxx continuing to play mind games with this Heaven swing that he knows is probably occupied. It's not like Bao can move any further off of that either, unless Okeanos actually makes something happen. A great game of discipline played by Cubert Academy that they refuse to lose this time around. Bao will find the opening pick on the exit, and in fact does find Reduxx too, but that's all they can muster. They'll get out of sight, hold on to 2 guns, and give Cubert the tie game. Could be willing to get aggressive on this, and in fact, they are going to start creeping up short. B-Dog with some help to try to make this an effective 3v2 if their stack is correct, but Weeded is the first to peek, and it's into that archway that just can't be collected on that easily. Cubert Academy, they see that as the sign to just disengage for the moment.
That's a miracle that nobody died from MVD's side as soon as they walk out there, and then they get 2 rifles going in both directions. It's like, yeah, maybe we just play our lives on this one. And they're able to successfully escape. Bao, though, might be able to find some timing. Not going to be the case. Does get spotted out. So Okeanos comes to play this, anti-drone strat because everything is just rolling forwards. But that will afford Cubert Academy that space to move into hookah, especially off of that flash. Yeah, the reinforcements got to come through, and Q is in such a weird position.
Yeah, he is completely boxed away right now. B-Dog has to make a really tough choice. Do we waver back over to this TP, or do we keep on the A side? It doesn't look like Cubert Academy is going to try and fight this. They assume the support is coming anyway, so they'll just head over to a free A site. That being said, the spike is still a good distance away from this, so Cubert will have to fight this out, and Okeanos is ready to get in front of it. Amazing kill on this Outlaw to open things up, and he'll go for even more, but Knights will shut that down. That being said, M80, they've taken the site, and they have a little bit of time still left before the spike makes it on over, and that's all the time they need. Bon Bao popping off here. Scuba still with the gun diff, and the snake fight, the flush out. We did all of a sudden. It's a 1v1 against a B-Dog at 1 HP. Spraying through this Viper's pit, gets Scuba down to 27, though, and it's one straight bullet from either side that could dictate this round and how it goes. But Scuba is not the one spamming, it's B-Dog instead. And B-Dog's timing is all that matters when it comes to this defense, but with the shots he was able to fire, they know Scuba could reposition up that tight end, and so he's gonna go for a full-fledged rotation up the bottom of the pit. Beyond risky, but he sees any play as such at this stage. In he walks, no reduction to the health. That is too far gone. He's got to check every inch of this pit until he walks right into the sight line. It all comes down to who's being watched, and it's Scuba! B-Dog shuts down the pit and the clutch to give M80 a half-thrifty round 3 and a lead back. He said the Okeano's just a little bit extended. It's what he loves to do best on this duelist, and he's got a limited time on it unless Sato never gets a visa. M80 once again full-blown denial on everything except Redux's showstopper, and B-Dog's extra life off of that ultimate is just going to bolster it even further. He's the one to get in front of it first, of course, but Weeded's coverage is what really matters to keep that man advantage rolling, and it is truly rolling. Scuba, yet another 1v4, but problem is he's not getting 3 simultaneous kills before it even starts. Still no committed plant, though, yet. They don't have the security for it until maybe Reduxx gets up. No, just go for the peaks here on top of the blast pack, and now comes the extension. Knight's unable to find that opening kill outside of Lamps, and the control of it is already gone. So Cubert, they'll try to undercut from the south side of the site, and they'll get a good amount of work done, and still turn around in the crunch. Okeano's trying to get the drop on him. So now an Armageddon defensively placed in the middle of sight. It catches absolutely nobody, but it does field out T-Dog and that spike in showers, where Weeded was aware the whole time. Reduxx now alone in the lamps. Nismo now alone on the bench. The drop down from it on top of the Armageddon, and he still wins that opening fight. Reduxx the off angle! But even so, it shows that M80 are very capable of the same in practices that Cubert has gone for. Leaving Bon Bao alone in this Viper's pit is a dangerous idea, regardless of how many people are walking into it, or for that matter, too few. Knight's gonna let that ultimate go on top of the pit so that Bao at least has to exit it, but it's still gonna be a 5v4 on this entry.
Yeah, honestly, just abandoning the pit, giving up the space, that's the right move, because you see the flood in come through. Okeanos able to find Nismo through all of that. Suddenly, Cubert Academy, they don't have as many members. Scuba, though, still alive as ever, and we've seen what Scuba can do.
Vuln for Vuln, so that Scuba can at least escape with his life, but he doesn't have much more than that. In fact, he's only got 1 lone bite. At least he'll get his health back with the help of this regrowth that T-Dog has been able to contribute. Unfortunately, the birds of the dog, you can't really say the same for how much of a tool it's been to be able to open up Reduxx just yet in the game, and we're running low on time for that attack to become effective. We're also running low on time in this round. Hello, 19 seconds.
Annihilation ready to go as well from Q. That could be good at least stepping someone out as the fall comes through.
Silent drop down. We're still going for the fight first. T-Dog good for the 1, and Okeanos can hold down 2.
Yeah, I wonder what the call is here. Maybe just the long rotate around. Hopefully, the slow creep up from Cubert allows enough time to make sure that the spike is ready to go. But still, this is a huge ask. A lot of deadlock utility still plaguing this site. And Okeanos and Bao just holding their ground. Bao had a couple of really great moments. Reduxx going to be the one to go in first.
Trying to proc that sonic sensor before it really makes any value known, but tough luck, buddy. Deadlock on bind is kind of OP like that. Again, 14 seconds on the push. This time it's through a toxic screen on the hookah, and against an Okeanos that has even better aim! Cubert will once again go for this A push, a lot more aggressive this time, and they know they have to push out B-Dog. They use the toxic orb for it, and we did. On the other side of that overextension, immediately shuts down Reduxx, and now Okeanos getting greedy with this dimensional drift on the other channel as well. M80 again, it's a full-blown shutdown on all fronts. Flawless victory here in round 10.
But it, once again, is just keeping Cubert at arm's length away.
And at this point, you're able to just time them out again. There's 20 seconds on the clock, and we're not even broken through short. That being said, Reduxx unchecked in shower. You can find the off angle quick enough if M80 doesn't frag out. Caillou still somehow finds 1. We're still opening up this site. Paint shell's just now used on the mid site that Knights can no longer breach past because of it. And Okeanos is attempted to get walled out by Reduxx instead. But he'll win that fight anyway. And now M80 will just come back on site to circumvent. Another 3v1, another moment in which Scuba is asked by all the remaining players on their knees to clutch up. And he just might. Okeanos caught short. B-Dog on the prowl with this shorty, and he'll make it work. I'm just really not seeing all the connection that Cubert Watchers would be asking for, but When M80 decides to answer prematurely, Scuba will punish. Now Bon Bao, the other Viper getting in on the action with aggression himself. And that'll work out a whole lot better. T-Dog trying to spray through and now can't, and gets fielded away by B-Dog on the ultimate. He's got to run away from that to prevent it, and so it'll still be a 2v3, but T-Dog walks right into We Did. And the blanks in their heads are still forming up even when M80 finds disadvantage. A monopolized site on either side. Nismo's extension is the most important part of what's going on right now. But it is a 2v2, plain and simple, in this final round of the half.
And importantly, Scuba does have that ultimate, so the Viper's Pit comes online. And this is going to be especially effective, given the fact that Nismo's still alive. The salvos are going to be a one-tap kill, especially with the... Oh, never mind. The Viper's Pit is deployed here, but the Snakebite is already used up. Let's see how M80 want to do this. Bao and Weeded still alive, looking for some information.
It's got to be all low ground, and they've garnered that Scuba is all the way back on the pit, so forcing them to step out. The salvos to counteract on the tap first, and so now they'll try to take over the pit. Bao watching the heaven swing that Nismo is attempting to reconnect on. That stun grenade launched just in time, and Weeded just trying to rush onto the spike. Scuba the one with the Sheriff from on high. He's going to be the biggest threat, as always, so far on this map. Salvos in to flush out the lamp control, and so now M80 is ducked back to short. Massive amount of space already gained here, and the pistol as Cubert begin their bulldozing. They'll get a lot of damage done, and Knights will finally get his opportunity to pop off. Reduxx is the duelist will finalize, and B-Dog is the only one standing. But with the overhealth, it's still a little bit tough, trying to spray down, but the extra smoke just in time. M80 is now using to try to set themselves up. Again, they're really not scared of what T-Dog has to offer. They're just scared of the gun diff, which will now shine through. Knights and Reduxx once again getting theirs this time around. Is this the half we'll see Knights pop off? He really wasn't able to open himself up too much in the previous half. We'll see if that changes. Nismo winning the duel against the sniper. Reduxx winning the duel as the sniper. This is looking like a nice clean follow-up, and We Did.
Scuba's got an opportunity to do something crazy here.
There's a dry swing, and it's not peaked. That's both down. Massive gains for Cubert Academy, and Okeanos TP's on his sight right in Nismo's waiting arms. It's another perfect interception here from Sentinels Academy. Now it's got to be the dry swings. We did good for just the one, and it's an army waiting for B-Dog in front of that spike. So he'll just try and farm up whatever he can, including that orb, and see if he can bait one more out. He actually does, because they were stalled themselves, but the pressure is very much real, and into the clone, Reduxx is going to fully back out. Knights tries to take the place, but Okeanos has both of those kills down. And an opportunity presents itself. Reduxx still on site with his sniper, though, and body shots are really all you need. Suppressed now and sprayed to a crisp, but still not dead. And so much of M80 is so low at this stage. Okeanos, how do you win that swing? T-Dog, massive whiff. That again opens the door for M80 in such a crucial round that Cubert wanted to hold on to. But Scuba's wraparound is massive, and B-Dog's plant is now ISO'd. 2v2 against two players that don't have much to offer. Okeanos tempted as ever to let that dimensional drift go, but positioning of Cubert is too uncertain, and the smokes are now gone. Salvo into lamps to force Reduxx out just a little bit, but that doesn't let him go any further in this last choke in it, so it's just space guaranteed for Okeanos to wander up towards, and with the help of that smoke, Reduxx has all the security in the world reset again. Make TP to try to get some sort of drop, but there's just too much to check. Scuba, though, caught off guard by Weedon, so now we're in a 1v2 scenario. That's enough time for the dimensional drift to come through and the spike to get picked up. But Reduxx will find the kill onto Weedon in the meantime, and so it's these two duelists duking it out in the post plant.
You wanted the head-to-head? You're about to see it happen right now.
Another fake TP that Okeanos can let fly. This is the only swing he gets, and the bullets have already flown. That's his one shot. He misses it, but so does Reduxx, and we re-up again. Now Okeanos opting for that high ground. No, the drop back down, just trying to keep him guessing, and he does! Yeah, once that push is in, it has to be stopped. It has to be fettered to some degree. Cubert, they can't just go for the pure retake, and they also can't be faked out when the TP is utilized. If M80 get that spike advantage, they have so much more to work off of, even if they're one man down. Cubert Academy, speaking of which, they're just going to hold the line on this sand and make sure that M80 don't get an easy spam kill. They still have to use a lot of util to make sure that they can re-clear it, especially since Reduxx is on the other side of it, but T-Dog is happy to let a bird fly and keep this angle held until M80 give themselves away again, which they very much will soon as they make their way over to short once more.
And they used up all the flashes from the Yoru, so that's not another entry tool that they've got. Still, though,
Throwing net.
should be able to move in pretty effectively right now. And yeah, seems like that's going to be absolutely the case. Here comes the engagement.
Stepping in is Okeanos once more, and he continues to step in. Such action from this man. Continuing to be a bright light for the team, and one of the most explosive personalities so far in Challengers. And now the rest of M80 can pick up the pieces. Never mind, Okeanos is back in the kill feed again. Nismo the only one remaining here from the shower peak, and yeah, not much you can do until you wait for Okeanos to come kill you himself. That being said, a dimensional drift does throw a wrench in this gear, so he'll be able to scope out T-Dog and force Scuba to misposition, step back into the pit, and that's all you really need. Now the Annihilation to try and go hunting for it, but Scuba counteracts it quickly, and Caillou doesn't find it. Reduxx is too quick on it. And now the showstopper to seal the deal against what is still kind of a diff. B-Dog is able to kill him early, but Reduxx does find that. And so B-Dog is going to ultimate and go full-blown aggro on top of that Armageddon that Cubert now launched into Hookah to force Bao to remain in place. B-Dog is the one ahead, though, and he does not find Nismo. That should be the last cry, but Bao has invaded the pit, and so down goes that. Scuba, too. You have a full-blown two-man push, now silence. But M80's aggression on the other side of A-site needs to be as expected, and now the Armageddon of Showers. It seems like they might have been prepared for this, but Nismo is missed alongside that hold, and so there's a lot more power alongside that other end, and so Caillou is caught off guard. Spike's still not down, Short's still not guaranteed. The stealth drone will suppress just Okeanos, though, so hitting wide, M80 continue to find that breadth of space and could TP even if they wanted to. It seems like that's in the cards. That's exactly what they'll do. 60 seconds to go and a whole open B site, but no more Von Bao. Oh, Knights just TPs right through and grabs the kill. They're gonna get more aggressive on top of it, and it'll work out almost entirely to their favor, except, of course, Okeanos, who requires a little bit more.
Haven't really seen the deadlock be really useful on this attack thus far. Of course, Okeanos starts us off with one dimensional drift going to be online, as now M80 decide to move in.
Scuba so by himself there, and M80 have every excuse to just unload. Reduxx stuck for far too long, but he'll still find his after Okeanos goes crazy in the middle, and they've got to deal with this raise ASAP if they want a chance at taking over. They can. Still the 3v2 though on the retake, and Cubert's once again already here.
Knights.
A Viper's Pit is gonna get thrown in just to guarantee, and Knights already on the drop, ready to go, but Caillou catches him early on. No reason to use the ultimate at this stage. It's going to be T-Dog holding onto this rifle, no doubt saving it for what few opportunities Cubert have left. M80 find their grip yet again, and they don't have to spend too much to do it either.
Yeah, once again, I was talking about that deadlock, and then now we see the barrier mesh actually just zone T-Dog out, and so it's discombobulation between Knights trying to move in from Hookah and T-Dog trying to advance up. T-Dog's still going to try and take a swing at it, but B-Dog ready to shut that one down. No information given away, and now that rotation is going to be coming around. Reduxx lets one operator shot go. That should signal to M80 where they are, but with those close smokes down, this is the engagement time for M80.
Really wanted to take that high ground after the fact, but he's got to reposition a little quickly here. Knights will finally use that ultimate after getting trumped by B-Dog, but he gets shut down immediately after again. Now an Armageddon up the front lines of A-site to at least stall this out, so Cubert can go for that interception that they love so dearly, but a barrier mesh placed up the mid line makes it so M80 can still enter this site, except for Nismo, who does have that high ground as opposed to Reduxx. He's got this operator down the lamp site. Very close quarters, extremely risky, but he'll take what he can get. And with 13 seconds on the clock, M80, they have only one more opportunity to go for this plant. B-Dog can be facilitated by the crossfire, but T-Dog just walks in on top of it and he'll get the kill promptly after. He'll grab a second, in fact, on top of it, and just walks right in with the shorty with no bullets left. We did with that shutdown, but not against Nismo in the ditto, and it's a 2v1 that Caillou has to hold on to so desperately. One smoke to defend, but Nismo is able to skirt it, and Cubert will keep two standing to tie us back up. This is not even 100% of either of these squads, not close. And yet this game is as close as ever. One round to get us to game point. Whose side is it going to be on? So far, Cubert remains stalwart on both the default holds.
Okeanos able to get that ultimate orb here. Keep in mind, Reduxx also has a showstopper online as well. But an Armageddon in the clutches of We Did. Could guarantee the safe side hit. Armageddon going to be coming in. Now they decide to move up there, and Okeanos gets shut down.
Moving in front of Okeanos, so now they gain that shower control that M80 is well aware of, but that just facilitates a crunch if Cubert are fast enough to it, and a snake bite is not perfectly placed, so Cubert can still get this fight going a whole lot better than M80 does, and now the rest of Cubert is here to take the rest of it. Should be curtains from there, but first op shot missed. B-Dog stuck in this smoke. It is going to be the round for here, but the question is how much more he can get along the way, and just keep Cubert in an unstable position in this final round. Maybe get Redux's ult out of here if you're lucky, but you've got to do so much work. And as the barrier mesh fades, they're really ready for the swing. They saw the foot too. It's over, bro.
It comes down to this level of confusion that is being introduced and wrenches being thrown into their plans that makes the attack look very discombobulated, despite having a lot of those strategies ready.
Still that set play prepared for M80. Stealth throwing out to B site. It's early though. Annihilation on the entry, but Salvo to slow down, and M80 might have been a little too quick on the trigger. This Viper's doing such an incredible job of completely denying this ultimate, and now Scuba himself is just gonna hold it down close quarters on the Sonic Sensor. Nismo encroaches as well, but B-Dog is going crazy up here on site. Knights can at least shut that back down, and a showstopper is too late because the rest of Cubert 4-stack launches their way up through vents and begins one fast invasion. This is exactly the tempo that we were hoping they would execute with, but that leaves M80 tempted enough to try to scope out Scuba, and he's gonna have to bluff himself out with this Nebula as he sprayed down to just 13 HP. Knowing that this is the only controller that M80 has to deal with, they will go hunting for this and then deal with the rest of the fight that Cubert still hasn't exactly won yet. We did with the trade for one, and they still control the tower. The stealth drone, though, is too much to bear, and Nismo and Reduxx both get theirs. Now we're on the track back over to A site, which is more open.
What the heck was going on? Everyone was running around the map, chasing one person one way, chasing the other person one way. Cubert Academy first decide to go A, decide to go B, swing back to A, back to B, and now they're at A, planting that spike. A lot unraveled on that single pistol round, but now Cubert Academy, they've got the numbers advantage. Caillou as well, very low health here, so Knights should be able to at least get a one tap, but has more than enough defense here as the Knights gets one, forcing bound forwards.
Still no huge noise made by M80 here. The wall is put up on the vents to prevent that peak from being too strong. But it's only now that Cubert decided to actually walk onto the site. They really want to make sure everything's clean, especially with a stun like that. And Bao and Okeanos do find early collection. Still, though, the army has made it onto site, and M80's rotation a little late, but still, they find the heaven angle and are able to grab one kill before the Salvo plays keep away. Another 2v3 now for Cubert Academy to try to manage, and they will start early. Reduxx with that gun diff, spraying down Caillou. Weeded and B-Dog walking on back from that screen presence, and B-Dog already ahead of it. We did nice chokehold to be able to grab the one, and Reduxx with the trade-off. That shuffle that Cubert was looking for previously starting to pay off and get a little faster, but 25 HP, he's got to be the one to find the spray. And B-Dog has a bloody Vandal to his name too. If he finds that angle first, it is curtains. Gets onto site for free here as Reduxx knows how limited the space he has is, but B-Dog is just going to give himself away with these steps on the spike. No point in waiting at this stage. Paint Shell's on top of it. B-Dog skates it! And so they will opt for the mid control this time around. Go for that long game that they are able to play into their snowball. Knights fielded out by the flash and forced to remain on the choke. But M80 could easily be split apart here. That's why you see Caillou holding it down here on the steps, making sure that Cubert can't get the drop on these two. Paint Shells do allow the window open though, and there's the showstopper available from Reduxx. A little bit of time on the reset, and meanwhile, Knights is able to go for one. Okeanos though able to shut that down, and T-Dog as well. That's the spike ISO'd. And while site is controlled, M80 have every reason to wait until they wander into their sight lines. Caillou, beautiful double kill in nanoseconds. And Scuba alone for a reason, I suppose, because now he stands with the clutch in his arms again.
10
Waltz
seconds
around,
left.
no one knows where he is. He is definitely able to grab one if he can get the pounce, but Weeded's already on the prowl. This should be all said and done. Stealth Drone is going to do a lot of slowdown, and M80 again backing out. They'll hear this push, but what can you do to stop it? Weeded standing alone on top of it. Massive util dump that Weeded just indoors and grabs two. Now Knights has to try to save the day. And even with util in his hand, Weeded stays alive for far too long. Scuba with the re-up, but Caillou is able to edge out one more peek on Nismo before yet again our controller stands alone.
Oh, Bao just had the opportunity to get a bucky kill, but decides to back off. Doesn't matter. Scuba goes down onto the site. The noise is heard. Two people here and ready to go. Oh, and they just slowly move up.
Okay. That provides way less power to Okeanos Outlaw, and they're able to just swarm bomb Bao. Tower completely under Cubert's control already, and the Armageddon is preventative, but also way too late. Cubert's already on site, buddy, and B-Dog can lock down the shots just once before Nismo gets that adopted new angle. It's a rolling thunder trying to play for the defense now, but the Armageddon on the cross section, so you can't re-enter. And Reduxx can just play keep away, exactly how Cubert wants to operate on a push like this, where they don't even have to plant the spike yet. They're still going for the fight. At least what remnants of it are left. Util now time back out. Caillou and we did simultaneously have their full kits back up, but they're not exactly in the same spot. We did still, or Caillou is still double checking to make sure there's no flank. And the salvo's gonna force out We did before there's the double peek. And so another stinger kill on the side of Cubert Academy. Caillou in the 1v4 that he is forced to try to aggress to try to keep Cubert from getting that snowball going again. But here it comes a rolling. Stack is making their way over to this A peek, and Okeanos has yet to move. So they're able to get the drop on him here. It would be absolutely massive. There it is.
That's what we were expecting, and given the fact that they were really expecting that Yoru to be the anchor there, now it should be pretty easy. Cubert Academy, once again, very easily going into heaven, and just so aware of the threat that Bao could pose immediately after shocking that angle, and here's the engagement.
We did good for the one shot, and there's a nice spam from the screen, so Knights is going to actually throw this wall up. I love it to split this board in half, and so until Okeanos snipes you, but that's what the fault line and the salvos are for. Reduxx on the Russian, and Okeanos is down to 8 HP.
Yeah, that was a crazy combo play, but once again, just a really good understanding of how to play off of that Tejo utility. Reduxx almost got the kill there. Okeanos able to escape, keep that operator alive, but it's so much more difficult to find anything. Look at this, Cubert Academy. They poke and prod and immediately just reposition themselves. They've been doing an excellent job at controlling this mid area, but more importantly, have been learning from their mistakes. Every single time they go in, they look just a little bit more coordinated. And this time around, it might be Bao on the receiving end, as it looks like they're potentially going into B heaven.
Here.
This is not an angle that Bao has taken just yet. Okeanos is still forced to watch down the garage site. Both of them are protected by their own, by the opposing Cosmic Divide, though. Bell fielded out the first time. That's going to prompt the salvos out against the paint shells from Reduxx. So tower is re-cleared by Cubert. This operator's still fully functional, and Okeanos' timing is his greatest enemy. Bao taken care of. Now Caillou playing bodyguard, only good for one. Rest of M80 trying to scroll on a sight. And Okeanos, dimensional drift to pick up the rifle to keep this fight as even as possible. But B-Dog is still alone here, and he's good for his. Schoolball all of a sudden alone against 2 rifles, and that's sublime adaptation from Okeanos.
Reduxx, without the rocket being fired off, it was that trigger discipline that didn't quite work, but a very characteristic. Already, it's going to be a lot going in, but B-Dog repositioning so smart, still alive.
And the Boombot not catching him, but the double swing will. Great attempt from B-Dog to avoid all of that, and I mean, he technically did, but still too much on sight. Meanwhile, Bon Bao with his Viper's Pit, making sure that Scuba is not lurking. Still so much uncertainty for this M80 takeover, but they'll have to just make it work. Okeanos still operator in hand. Immediate stun that Reduxx can collect upon, and he turns onto Okeanos as well. The reflexes on this guy, unbelievable. And he'll go for more. He is hungry as can be, but we did the crawl up. Reduxx is expecting it. Timing. Is it unfair, lady? Bao, though, now picking up the operator. This is a bit of a risk considering, Cubert's already here for the action, so restack up the A-line as the spike is in tow. B-Dog still holding very respectfully along the garage peak as there's 2 members on that end too. And 50 seconds to go. Cubert can really go anywhere they please as long as they don't mess up. They're gonna check for B-Dog here, no doubt. Yeah, B-Dog's gonna walk into it, but B-Dog shots are clean. Only good for the one as Nismo now has to rush on with the spike behind him, but M80, they're gonna be more than ready for this.
Yeah, M80 already going around. Self-drone does explode, though. And I think Nismo might be trying to get the Armageddon online. They're at least feigning like this is going to be the B side. T-Dog able to find one as well. But look, the spike already onto that A side at this point.
Yeah, they're fine with letting these players go so long as they get those kills just because of the gun diff still pervading. But that's now really shifted. 2 of these players still have rifles. But site's overtaken by Cubert Academy and M80. They only have the full stack to work off of. Meanwhile, smokes are going to be available on the cycle back for Scuba in just a moment here, so the window is short for M80 to aggress now. Being said, they still have all of this to clear, and there is indeed that smoke. Same clear as any, a breach flash out of the screens, and Cubert are entirely hiding behind it. They have the Nova Pulse, they have these salvos, which they will use first, and it's a lot of stall work that can be done to collapse into the fight. And as heaven is held, Knights and Nismo are able to clean house.
Just a good adaptation coming in from them. And B-Dog now just on the other side of that smoke. Could have found some value here, but it's needing to start soft.
And he's got 2 for himself as well. That allows even more aggression from the remainder of M80, and B-Dog is able to turn on a Redux's entry out of the smoke. Counteracted pretty quickly, but 3v2, M80 is pretty content with that at the moment. No smokes available, just these initiators to try to make the headway. So it's all got to be in the one and done fight. But Okeano shuts down the back end of it, and Nismo already choked up against this ledge. Good for the one on the head. Now Caillou next to peek it out. Has the stun available too. That'll slow them both down. And Bon Bao still a little nervous after all these interactions have gone awry. Nismo the back away, still good to save himself, and he does have the spike. Could feign a rotation or fully fledged go for it. Has 50 seconds on the clock to do whatever he pleases.
And keep in mind too, an Armageddon online for Nismo.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential here to stall things out or at least deny a lot of that space if you want to use it onto this round. Meanwhile, on the other side, the fault line is going to be activated again. Caillou still has a flash available as well as that aftershock. So a lot of breach utility. I like the way that Nismo's playing this go. Goes for a little bit more forward aggression, might catch a timing.
This is one of the moments in which you have to take that chance, and he will hear both of these stepping up. It's the double swing that Nismo holds all the way down! So it's only a matter of time before side swap, and we might see M80 have the same explosivity that Cubert does here on the attack.
I got this
Being
back.
said, very carefully checking back again and again, and B-Dog getting more aggressive than ever on this wraparound, but Nismo
Oh, no.
expects it! Dr. Seuss the way he read it. And now we're chilling back in the garage like nothing ever happened, except it's a 5v4.
Oh, that stealth turn's going to give away Okeanos' position as well. Such a good read coming in from Cubert here. We're seeing the showstopper now. Thankfully not wasted on that clone. There's a lot of utility, and the Armageddon come through. As the rocket goes wide, not able to find anything except a lot of damage onto Caillou.
Backside continues to be no man's land, but Cubert continue to play on the front lines of it, and they'll manage both those kills on site. Again, no trade-offs, no dirty work, just a little bit of health shaved off Nismo, and that's all they get. Now we did on the flank, and again, Cubert are ready for it. Are they back? Dude, back? Straight up. This is insane game sense coming from these players, and again, so much of it is allowed to be individualistic.
So great job coming through as this 9-3 half.
Reduxx getting aggressive off rip here for the defense. Will open up with one, and no one is able to punish a blinding speed from the Rays instead of the Yoru, who now double up after B-Dog goes down. But Bao will be able to trade that out. So a 3v3 as M80 waltz onto site with much less in their way. But now Nismo another wrap around himself. B-Dog keeping the back seat though, and no one's checking for him except for Knights, but he's gonna be a little too late for it. Nismo outside the corner, and Knights can't cover it. And again, these microcosms outside of Spike dictate how the fight on top of it goes. Caillou walks into a barrage of Cubert members and can't kill one instantaneously. Never mind, there you go. There's the opener. And now the wrap-up from B-Dog himself. Good for one as well.
Cubert has to know that this is going to be where M80 is coming.
This is really ballsy from M80.
30 seconds left.
Necessarily ballsy from Cubert Academy, but they'll step out and they'll begin to frag. Reduxx good for the one, and he's still not covered yet. Still not covered as Caillou goes down next. He is still dancing around these screens with just a ghost in hand. And the blast pack, but oh my goodness, B-Dog. If only Reduxx was not fully blinded off that paranoia. Still one standing as T-Dog continues to try to field out from the screens, but very little he can do at this stage in the fight. That being said, taking down 3 members, make it for T-Dog! All of a sudden this is visible! A right-click dealing minimal damage, and nothing left in the util tank. Spike planted as well.
M80, their hand is forced. They must go onto this A site.
No ramp control thanks to the smokes, and Reduxx's shot does land, but most of the members of M80, actually no, 2 of them, stand at that full HP. The first one to walk into it is the one who can take the shot, but now we just spam through that smoke as there's 10 seconds to go. There is no more opportunity for M80 to get onto site here, and Cubert wrap up that bonus.
Every time they walk into the site, it's like they don't have really anything to work off of. And now Reduxx, very aggressive showstopper, finds B-Dog and is happy with that, so we'll just back out of it.
And again, unpunishable thanks to Knights' insane slow orb on top of that. They were so ready for someone to get ahead, whether it was B-Dog's or Oki's TP, and they were 100% right. Again, the reads are so there this time around, and so much credit has to be given to Dapper on that. The man has been watching this team.
And also, too, I think this is an important time to point out the difference between the Sage and the Vise, because a lot of people think, oh, you know, Vise, that's the one you want to go. It's just a little bit better, but there's no deploy time on getting the Thorn Barrier out there. Versus the Slow Orbs, immediately, as soon as it touches the ground, will deploy. There's no opportunity for someone to shoot it out. So it's just kind of that like faster play that if you want to play off the trap, that's going to be Sage.
Huge post by Von Bao, but the rest of the push has to be as strong, and they cannot make it work. We did the only one standing outside of that, and now he's Dimensional Drift. He's going to play it mega early to try and get ahead of this Slow Orb and try to hunt down Knights. No, he just sees Knights. Now he wants Scuba instead. And on top of the fault line, he's going to make it happen. Amazing fight taken up. The salvos will zone away, and so Knights will clean that up. And in fact, res Scuba as well, so it turns back into a 5v4 the other way, thanks to what Cubert were able to hold on to. But still, M80 have the site and still an Armageddon to hold on to. Here it comes to make sure they have all the space they need for Cubert to not go for the interception, where they lied strongest. Still a 3-stack waiting in the tower, and the other two on the way back up these steps through vents. Von Bao needs to land at least one. The stealth drone is going to catch him out. No abilities, and Scuba gets ahead of it. Now the full-blown Cubert squad can attack the 3-stack on B site. Is M80 prepared? They simply must be. There is no more room to wait for it. First drop down to clear the close space. Knight's good for the one on the opening. Now Caillou good for the 2, and Nismo shut down onto that. It's all down to B-Dog against the 3 in the back line, and T-Dog has made the wraparound happen. M80 will continue to wander with their 6th in purgatory. Sentinels Cubert Academy are your 3rd team to make North American Challengers playoffs.